Greetings and welcome to Great Chesterford Junction Model Railway. And what we're doing this time is a fairly in-depth, detailed layout update, showing you probably some things that you may not have seen before. So this will explain how this whole thing works, how big it is, and in some degree how it was built. Okay, let's get on with it. Now this room that the layout sits in, which is, if I move away you can see that it's a reasonable length. What we're looking at in this room is a length of about, from where I am to the wall there to the doorway, is just under 4 metres. And the width across here is again just under 3 metres, just a tad under. So that's the size of the main operating area, and we've got that with a railway around the walls, and also we have this peninsula here which supports Bamford on this side, and on this side we have our cassette fiddle yard. Now the idea of the peninsula is to give a visual barrier, I suppose, not that it's complete, but a visual barrier which would separate Little Bardfield, which is over here, from Bamford, which is here. And also the railway was set up in such a way that when you're looking at Bamford and operating here, you're sort of divorced from Little Bardfield over there, which you can't see, unless you're exceptionally tall, and of course Great Chesterford is behind you. So that's the reason it was done that way. It's sort of like 3 railways, separate railways if you like, in the one room. Now the visual running length from over near the tunnels here on Great Chesterford all the way along the main line here and along and across the bridge to the tunnel just under the standing stones here, that visual side is, in the old language, about 18 feet or about 5.5 metres. Over here at Little Bardfield, the track enters the room from the right hand wall there and exits through the very end wall there, through under a bridge actually, and that length there is about 8 feet or 2.4 metres, so it's starting to add up, as you can see. And now we'll move around to Bamford. Now here at Bamford, the running length from the very end near the coal stage here, which you can't see at the moment, but the very end, through the platform, around and out through a wall, a hole in the wall, there is about 11 feet in the old money, which is about 3.4 metres. So you can see that each one of them is quite a reasonable size layout on its own. I mean, you could literally pick up Bamford and use it as a standalone layout, provided you had a fiddle yard to connect onto the other end of it there, which wouldn't be too difficult to do. So this would fit in probably a bedroom or something, I suppose. You could work around it, and it's quite good for operating. Now the branch line on Great Chesterford Junction, which is the furthest line away from us here, the line next to the signal box there, exits the room via a tunnel which is over here, basically in the corner of the room, and it has Great Chesterford East sitting on top of it there. Now the logic behind this was to be able to access these tracks. So this whole section here, there's a join there which runs around here and up there. This section lifts out and I can get access to the track underneath. I won't do it at the moment because we've got buses and cars and all sorts of things in the way there, but that whole section just lifts off so that I can get access. So once the train passes through the tunnel, it exits the room via a little hole in the wall here and travels around my workshop. It hugs the wall all the way around. Now this workshop is about 3 metres by 3 metres square, and so it climbs all the way around the walls until it comes in here through another hole in the wall to enter Little Bardfield. Now by the time the railway's got over to this side here, it's been on a 1 in 70 incline, so it's climbed to this point here. We have a doorway to negotiate, we also have another doorway here to negotiate, and we do that by means of lifting flaps. And this one will lift up, and there is an electrical connection for it there, and once that's up and set in place, this one here can lift up and snap into place there. To allow the bridge to just snap into place, you'll notice underneath I've got two ball catches, which is they're usually used on cabinets and so on. The advantage of these is that they're also made of brass, and they are adjustable from one side, but the advantage is that I can add a wire to each one to feed the power through for the tracks. Now one of the dangers of having these drop down bridges in effect is what happens if somehow somebody unbeknown to you drops the bridge down and comes into the room and you've got a train just about to go off the end there. Well, what I've done is I've got a micro switch here which is activated by the flap when it sits on top of it. See that? The flap rests on there, and that kills the section of track further back. I've got a rail brake, so effectively when the train is about maybe 2 feet away from this drop here, if this bridge is not up, the train will stop dead. That's how that works. There's also other ones here. So if this bridge is up, but the one that's supposed to meet here is down, there's also a micro switch there which will kill the power and stop the train on this bridge here. So nothing's going to fall off the end. By the same token, on this drop down bridge, the one that just snaps in, we've got a micro switch positioned on there as well, this one here, which will prevent anything coming from the other direction from falling down off the bridge this way. It stops a couple of feet further back there. So we've got all these safety measures in place. This also applies to the bridge across the doorway to the room. There's another bridge over there, same sort of thing. So up to this point here, where the first bridge starts, the incline was 1 in 70. And now on the bridges, it flattens out, and once the train has crossed the bridge, it's then on a more gentle incline up against the wall. You can barely see it there, but it's on a 1 in 90 to get to that point there. So the inclines are quite gentle for this railway. So once the train's travelled around the workshop and negotiated the bridges and all that sort of thing, it travels into Little Bardfield here, where the track levels out again to pass through Little Bardfield. And then the train will continue on its journey under the road bridge up the far end there. Now at this stage, this track is a bit higher than the main lines. If we come around this side of the wall, that track that's just exiting Little Bardfield is just over the other side of the wall there. It's travelling below this scenery here, all this hill and everything. It's travelling below that by about that much, and it will exit through a hole in the wall that we can't see. It's underneath the ruined castle there. Right, I'm now in my rear storage shed behind the railway. The railway's over that side, so we might come in a bit closer and give you a bit more of an in-depth look of what happens in here. Right, it's probably best to go handheld camera here. So this is the part where Little Bardfield comes out. It's travelled underneath the castle and everything, which would be up behind this wall, and it comes down through this hole onto a bridge, and then travels across the bridge. And once we get across the bridge, we're on a bit of an incline of 1 in 70, so it climbs up around the wall until it comes up to this point here, where there will be another hole where it exits this room and then goes into Bamford. So you can see the difference in the height of the two. Up on the wall here I've got all the wiring that feeds into the back of my train detection panel. So that's all coming off the track that's out here. There are various sensors around the loop here to show what position the train's on. This is a capacitor that sort of helps keep the LEDs on a little bit longer. So there's a number of those around this loop. So that's how it all connects up. This room is just under 10 feet wide, just under 3 meters, and it's only 5 feet wide. Yeah, so there's still room to get enough of a nice gentle curve up the end there. And the last, one of the most important parts of this railway is this bridge to go across the doorway, otherwise we just can't run trains around the room. And this is made of 25mm MDF. It's also got a bit of ply on the top as well, just to build things up a bit. It's got 2 door hinges here, household door hinges, to make sure that it always lines up properly. And I've got a couple of garden latches for a gate, pad bolts I think they're called, underneath, so that this can just lift up and it can line up on the right hand side. This is also micro switch protected on this side and also on this side, so it covers trains from either direction. If the bridge is down, they stop. In this case it stops in the tunnel, and in this case it stops further back in the cutting. Now, as far as storage goes for mainline trains, I've got a sliding fiddle yard here underneath Bamford, and this fiddle yard will feed out into Great Chesterford Junction. So this is the same level as the main lines, and it almost retracts fully, not quite. So I've got 6 roads in here. Each road is capable of holding 5 coaches, so that's the limit of the length of my trains. The spacing of the roads is quite close. It's not the standard 50mm. It's something like 45 or possibly 40, but you can see there's not much room between the trains. I'd have to measure that again to work out what it was, but there's enough room. And as they're all not going around a bend, it's all straight, everything works pretty well. Originally it was set up with uncoupling ramps, but with my new coupling system I have a little bar that I can put in to do the uncoupling. Yeah, so it's positioned with vertical plates on the side of it when it gets inside, and these pins that I'm pulling will lock into holes that suit the particular road that I'm wanting to access. I have lighting underneath there as well, so I can see what's going on. This is the control panel for the sliding fiddle yard, or actually probably more correctly it's an indicator panel, and you can see when the lights come on that I know the status of each road in there. Also at the far end, which I'll show you in a moment, is a loco storage yard which works in conjunction with the sliding yard. So obviously a red light means that the road is occupied, green light means that it's unoccupied. And as you move the sliding fiddle yard into position, it will indicate which road it's on and how they line up over here. Yeah, it's pretty complicated, but it works. And this is the loco storage section underneath. We've got 6 roads in there. 4 of them hold 2 locos, and the other 2 just hold 1. And this is the where this loco is here. Is the it's supposed to be kept empty normally. That's for the loco release. It just waits there momentarily and can run around. The panel, being such a complex thing, was made to just lift down. It's you can see it's a bit of a maze under there of spaghetti, but that was also for better access here and everything, and if anything goes wrong in there I can access it quite easily. So it's just a little string holding it there, and push it back up. Now the rest of my storage is under these hills here. This is mainline storage I'm talking about, and there's essentially that large hill behind Little Bardfield is in 2 sections, and that all lifts off, and this section here with the standing stones and the airfield lifts off as well. It's very handy if something happens in there. I've got a little rod that I just push up here to lift this. I won't take it all the way off, but you can see I can take it all the way off, and it gives me access to the tracks underneath there. There's only one little part I can't access, which is where little barge Fiddle layout runs across it, which is basically a short section here. Now over here I get access to my mainline fiddle yard. So there's 3 roads on each line, the up line and the down line. Each one has 3 roads. So in order to access this, I have to take all these little cars and things off and place them safely off to the side here somewhere, and then even the tractor, take that off, or the steam traction engine. Now the house is hiding this, which is a handle, and so I can just simply lift this up and take it away and put it somewhere safe, and we'll come back and have a look at the yard. So this is the yard that's underneath the hill, and you can see there's some room for 6 trains in there. So we've got yeah, plenty of room. This other section obviously will come off the same way. We have a handle underneath there, under that house, and once we take the little vehicles off, the windmill stays on there. That can be lifted off as well, all the way up to the bridge. Even the bridge is removable. So I can get good access to this yard if anything goes wrong in there. Worst case scenario is if something's stuck under there somewhere, I can always pull the train back, or if I take everything off, including the standing stones in the airfield, it's just a short length that is not accessible from above, but you can certainly reach it from below. So yeah, that's where all the storage is there. Now in terms of, still on the subject of storage, I've also got fiddle yard cassettes, which I've got in a shelf system here. So this obviously holds 4 cassettes. This would be the active cassette if it's sending a train out into Great Chesterford Junction. This is known as Duxford as a location, and so I can hold 4 there, and also I've got a storage drawer which will hold another 7 cassettes. At the moment I've only got 3 in here. There's another 4 to be fitted in, but as you can see I'm keeping loose stock in here as well, but these are usable cassettes here. So there's another 3. So at this stage I've got 7 cassettes which each hold the train. So eventually it's going to be, you know, easy to just choose a train and put it on the railway. The layout is operated by DC, analog, 12 volts DC into the track. And why? Because that's what I had from a previous railway. I had a number of controllers and a number of locos and all that sort of thing, and I thought, well, now that I'm rebuilding, I'll just use what I've got. So that's why it's DC, but that does mean there's a hell of a lot of wiring underneath here, and fortunately I had a lot of wiring from various sources, and yeah, it's come in very handy to wire it all up, but it's just a wiring nightmare underneath here. So yeah, and I've got, as you know probably, I've got manual point control, which is a system of levers and rods and bell cranks, which has been a very reliable system. I've also got a form of train detection, as I mentioned earlier, for the loops in the other rooms, so that especially with this back room here, I have no visual on that at all, and with the indicator panel up on the back wall, I can actually monitor the progress of a train in that loop. So if there's no movement, there's no lights going off, so I think, well, something's wrong. Otherwise you can just follow the progress and it's quite good. For the branch line, you're probably aware that I use block instruments to send trains backwards and forwards from GCJ, Great Chesterford Junction to Bamford, and Bamford back to Great Chesterford Junction. It can be done with block instruments, and they have a bit of control over the track as well. When all the block instruments are set to line blocked, the loop in the outside workshop and the back storage room, those loops are dead electrically when the lines are blocked. So you need the instruments to work together and basically have train on line setting to activate those bits of track. When we look below the layouts, you may notice the absence of legs supporting the railway. That's because the whole system is set on a series of steel bars projecting out from the wall. I wanted the railway to look as though it's floating off the floor, and seem to have achieved that, I think, in this regard. It's the same over this side, and all that I've got underneath now is some stools that operators can sit on. It also makes it handy to get underneath if I need to, and to clean or whatever, to recover something. It's all very easy to get under. We're now underneath the layout, and you can see that this is the steel bar system that I've employed. Mounted directly to the wall, and you can add in extra parts of it as needed. So that's what's supporting the whole railway. Each one of these bars is rated at 70 odd kilos, the weight that it can handle, so it's no problem at all. This is one of the speakers for my sound system. There's another one up the far end of the layout, and I've taken the housings off them, and you find that the sound now can actually travel sideways as well as down and out, and it does give a sort of surround effect. And just over there on the wall is where all the power comes from. So there's a number of transformers there, all sort of dedicated lines and everything, and you can get an idea of some of the wiring that's involved in this. It's just a spaghetti jungle under there. Now this area here is the narrowest part of the room, and that's just under 600 millimeters, which is about 2 foot. So that sort of extends to this sort of area here. Now this area here, over near the turntable and the loco yard, and I've got Bamford on my left here. Roughly, you've got about 5 feet over to sort of Bamford here, and about 3.5 feet here. It sort of varies. It's an odd shape. It's not square at all. But yeah, there's plenty of room here, and the idea was that you can have an operator over here at Bamford and one here at Great Chesterford, so yeah, without sort of bumping into each other too much. Well, this is the quite extensive operating panel, as I said, analog DC for operating Great Chesterford Junction. Each controller is colour coded to match the track plan. And for example, this orange controller does the branch line, which is over here, and so red does the main down, which is that one, and blue does the main up, and the green does the yard, so there's green covering on the yard. I've also got other controllers now on each of the stations. So I've got these CDA handhelds, which are a metal box, and that is switchable. This one is switchable for any road on the layout, so this can operate the whole layout. And same applies to the controllers here themselves. You can see at the moment we'll turn everything off. Each controller has markings for each individual part of the layout, so any controller can control any part of the layout. So it's possible to either have the red controller just running the red main down line and blue doing the main up, and you can have the green on for the yard and say the orange on for the branch. However, it is also possible to have, say, the red controller do the branch, the main down, main up, and the yard. So they're all switchable. It's a form of cab control. Now this control panel here being in a sort of close to the narrow part of the layout, close to the 2-foot section. In this case is in the folded down position, but it can be just brought up to an angle like that if you want, or you can bring it right up. So it's like a table, so you can operate it like that, whatever's convenient. Also it's held in place by a single screw at each end on the bracket, and you can release those and you can flip the whole thing over, so if you need to work on the wiring at the back of it, it's like a little table that you can work on. It's very good actually. So yeah, normally I would keep it down out of the way, but yeah, that's worked rather well for quite a long time. Whereas the Bamford control panel, for example, is built in flush with the edge of the layout simply because of the sliding yard underneath. You didn't want to sort of be having something projecting out and restricting access to the sliding yard. On top of that, you know, you're in a reasonably confined space here, so the idea was to just build it into the layout, and then from the layout side it's disguised by these terrace cottages that just lift off. So you've got the panel there, this one also lifts off, and yeah, so you can access the panel if you need to. Obviously the top comes off quite easily, or probably the easiest way to access anything is to remove the bottom. Then this panel can slide out either way. You can also access the point levers by doing that. So that's the logic behind that one. This one also has a CDA handheld controller, which is handy for walking up the other end of the layout, and especially when you're doing shunting and that sort of thing. Now these CDA controllers are connected to the layout with aviation plugs, and I like to use these because you can actually screw them in to lock them in, so you can't accidentally pull the plug out. And yeah, and they're all wired the same way, so they're all interchangeable, so I can swap them around on the layout if I want to. So you just push it into the correct position, lock the ring, and that's it, it won't move. On top of that, with the CDA being a metal box, I've got this magnetic strip that I can fit to the side of the fascia on the layout. It's fairly unobtrusive, but you just bang, that's it, it's done. It's easy to take it off, and it just holds it there. The little Barnfield control panel, by comparison, is just built on an angle because there's no passing traffic here, and the operator, I felt I put that at a comfortable sort of angle for the operator to use. If we're doing nighttime running, it's got its own lighting system underneath. Also the, I don't know whether you can see that, but the point levers are lit up as well. That's the case on the other parts of the layout as well. They're lit up for nighttime running. If I want to switch to the CDA controller here, I just simply turn off this one, and I can operate from the handheld if I want to. And these are all obviously the isolating switches for the sidings, etc., and the loop, all that sort of thing. The fundamental difference for Little Bardfield with block instruments is that it's receiving trains from two directions. So it's receiving a train from Bamford, but can also receive from Great Chesterford. So this operator here needs to operate two block instruments, whereas Bamford and Great Chesterford only have one to operate. Also, the power for this part of the layout is independent to the rest of the layout. It's got its own transformers under the layout here. The room has fluoro lighting, and these fluoros have LED tubes in them, which greatly improved the video making in here. With normal fluoro tubes you get quite an amount of flicker in videos, so that's helped considerably. I also have a strip of coloured LEDs up here which run the full length of the room, and I'll show you those. What happens is sometimes we do nighttime running here, and I'll just turn them on. Right, there we go. Now I'll just turn off the main lights in the room. I have to go into the other room to do that. Now you can see we get quite a blue effect in the room. So now what we'll do is turn on the lights for the layout, and you can see that yeah, we start to get a nighttime effect right up to the signal box up there. And we might as well go right around. We'll just move the tripod. There's the engine shed, and there's Great Chesterford over there, street lights and all. And you can see the control panels here with the point levers all lit up. You need to know where you are in the dark. It's a bit hard sometimes. Yeah, that's an example of it all. This area of Bamford came up particularly well, I feel. Well, I think that's about all I can tell you, folks. There's probably questions that you would have that I probably haven't thought of, but yeah, I think I've given you the dimensions and all that sort of thing, and how the layout operates. It's DC, obviously, and a bit of a look underneath. And this has been really a build that's started in about 2013, so it's been going for a while and still not finished, and hopefully it never will be. There'll be always something else to do. So I hope you've enjoyed that little tour of the layout, and yeah, and I look forward to telling you a bit more about it in the future. Okay, cheers for now. Call back.